Carowinds is my personal home park, as well as the park that I've been to the most. So I would say that I have a pretty good feeling for the park's coasters, since, I've ridden them multiple times, except Wilderness Run. Now, as much as I will defend this park with my life, I will admit that the coaster lineup is very top-heavy when it comes to quality. So the bottom half of this list will be pretty mediocre to awful coasters, but the top half is some of what I believe to be the greatest coasters in the country. I will not be including any kiddie coasters or defunct rides because, well, it's been a while since I've ridden them or I just haven't ridden them. So let's not waste any more time and get into the list with my number 11 pick. I don't want to spend any more time talking about this abomination than I have to, because honestly, it deserves a video of its own. To just fully describe my pure hatred for it. I'm the type of person that even if I didn't like a coaster, I will re-ride it to see if I got a bad ride. But I will probably never ride this absolute dumpster fire again, because of how many second chances I have given it. I never enjoyed riding it, and never will. Nighthawk's horrific smaller counterpart is just as bad as the ride it's named after. The only reason it is higher on the list is because at least it doesn't try to be a thrilling ride, so it isn't as awful, but it is still one ride I will never ride again. It's just a cloned Wild Mouse from Mach. What else do you want to hear? This ride is such a waste of a wooden coaster. The layout itself isn't terrible because I have gone a trimless ride once, and I got some nice floater airtime. But on a normal day, there is a set of trims at the bottom of the first drop that saps the train of all of its speed. One thing that would make this ride better is to pull a King's Dominion and R.C.E hurler, because can you imagine how awesome it would be to have an R.C.E coaster literally right down the path from Fury? Our first coaster on our list that doesn't suck is, funnily enough, the oldest coaster in the park. It isn't a super intense or fast-paced ride, but this is definitely a very fun ride that anyone could enjoy. Despite the ride being built by Arrow, it is still pretty smooth and won't end up being uncomfortable. Not to mention, the lift hill sounds immaculate. The first coaster I ever experienced that inverts is still one of my guilty pleasures in the park. I love just how intense the loops are, the powerful pop of airtime on the ride's turnaround, as well as the bouncy corkscrews. All around, a really janky and fun ride. If I could change one thing about the ride, it would be getting new trains from Vekoma with vest restraints to eliminate any discomfort caused by the over-the-shoulder restraints. The most overhated coaster in the park is a genuine fun ride that I really enjoy. I actually really like the stand-up aspect of the ride because it accentuates the ride's already impressive forces that would be lost with sit-down trains. Not to mention, the track itself is still very smooth, meaning you won't have to deal with too much headbanging during the experience. My only gripe with the ride is that the operations are terrible and go really slow, but what are you gonna do? Now we were getting into the truly amazing rides on the list, and starting us off is Intimidator. I hate the fact that people crap on this ride for being forceless and having no airtime, because it does have really good and sustained floater airtime. Not to mention the fact that the trims don't hit nearly as hard as people claim. Yes, they do slow the train down a bit, but that's to be expected on any ride built by B&M. The train itself is really long, meaning when in the back row, you get yanked down the first drop. But I personally prefer the ride in the front row for the more powerful airtime. The shortest ride in the top 4 is still a super fun ride. While I don't think it's nearly as intense as people say, it is still a really fast-paced and intense experience. The best elements on the ride are the Zero G-Roll, Batwing, and Final Corkscrew, each of which pulls really good positive and lateral forces. And I believe this is the best ride in the park for positive G-force. The newest coaster in the park absolutely blew me away after the first ride, and I still absolutely love it after numerous more rides. The coaster has a bit of everything, and it does everything it has really well. I wholeheartedly believe this is the most well-rounded ride in the park, and I could completely understand why it could be someone's favorite coaster in the park. Copperhead Strike has by far the best hang time I've experienced, as well as the best single airtime moment in the entirety of Carowinds. I know people say that the launches are weak, but recently they've changed something about the launch where it now has more of an initial kick. I'm not going to go too much into the layout because I am going to have a full review of the ride soon, but overall the ride is fantastic and a fun thing to go on every time you go to the park. I absolutely adore Fury 325. I don't think I can say a single bad thing about this ride, and nor do I want to say anything bad about it. I have a special connection with Fury that I don't have with any other coaster, and I think it's because it was the first massive ride I ever went on. For a few years, this is my number one coaster until, well, Iron Gwazi, but I still adore Fury, and I definitely need to go back to Carowinds soon so I can ride this beast once again. I will also be doing a full review of Fury very soon. That's going to be a wrap on this video. I adore Carowinds, and I'm really excited to get back out to the park either later this year or next. I will see all of you next week for a new video. Peace out.